March the 2nd, 2025 began with a single complaint phoned in to dispatch a vehicle pushing 140 miles per hour and using the median like it was his personal racetrack. Not long after, a Wisconsin state trooper locked onto a car matching that very description still flying down the opposite lanes. In the driver's seat was Bo, and he was about to turn a speeding ticket into a full-blown nightmare.
Speeds 120, right lane, approaching exit 65.
120, right lane, approaching risk.
Vehicle lost control, 1050 into the right ditch, multiple rolls. Vehicle lost control, 1050 into the right ditch, multiple rolls.
When the chase finally reached its breaking point, Bo paid the ultimate price. Investigators confirmed he was the only one inside, and debris stretched for hundreds of yards across the highway. Looking back, it's hard not to wonder if a single moment of hesitation, just lifting off the gas, might have changed everything. On a cool evening in Hot Springs, Arkansas, Trooper Robbins spotted something that did not add up: a spray-painted Range Rover rolling west on Highway 70 with tags that looked off from the start. What should have been a simple traffic stop suddenly turned into something else when the driver refused to yield. With lights flashing in the rear view and the pressure mounting, that quiet stretch of highway was about to become the stage for a reckless decision. The driver, later identified as Haley Hollingsworth, was eventually found pinned inside the wrecked vehicle. Fire and rescue teams had to step in before she could be pulled out and treated. Her night ended not with escape, but with a stack of charges from felony fleeing to traffic violations stacked against a record already weighed down with warrants. Another case where a bad gamble on the road turned into a permanent mark in the court system. On June 21, 2022, a simple traffic violation turned into something far more sinister in Turner County, Georgia. A deputy spotted a Toyota Corolla that had already fled from other departments earlier that day. Behind the wheel was a man with more than just speeding on his conscience. He was about to gamble with his freedom and his own children's lives. When it was all over, deputies discovered that the driver, 28-year-old Javante Laquan Davis, wasn't just running from speeding tickets. He was a wanted fugitive from Ohio. A Georgia judge handed him 8 years behind bars, and when he walks out in 2030, he'll be on his way to face armed robbery charges up north. His children were unharmed, but it raises a tough question. Do you think parents who put their kids in danger like this deserve harsher sentences? Let us know in the comments. On July 8, 2023, the quiet rhythm of Interstate 4 in Hillsborough County was shattered when troopers spotted two cars tearing through the night. An orange Ford Mustang and a white Porsche Panamera were locked in a high-speed duel, blasting past 120 miles per hour. When the Mustang teased surrender only to rocket away, the chase shifted into overdrive. With adrenaline rising, the white Porsche became the focus of a pursuit that would push the limits of control.
31, stage 130.
was all over, the Porsche driver's night of bravado ended under arrest. Felony fleeing and a string of traffic offenses followed the cost of one dangerous gamble on open asphalt. Once again, a reminder that the road has rules, and trying to rewrite them never ends well. On July the 2nd, 2023, the streets of Little Rock, Arkansas were about to become the stage for a nightmare. A routine patrol spotted a vehicle blasting through the city, hitting speeds that had no business on surface streets. The driver, later identified as Damian Gunnels, looked more like a man running from something than just racing the clock. What started as flashing lights in the rearview mirror was about to spiral into something far more dangerous.
Show me your fucking hands! Show me your fucking hands! Show me your hands! Show me your hands!
The crash left Damian Gunnels with catastrophic injuries and his passenger badly hurt, requiring immediate rescue. Both were pulled from the wreckage and rushed to the hospital as investigators began piecing together what led to this reckless run. When officers talk about how one night can change everything, this chase is exactly what they mean: a high-speed gamble that ended in devastation, not escape. For Florida Highway Patrol, September 18th, 2024 in Charlotte County started like any other sunny afternoon on Interstate 75, but all eyes shifted to a black Ford SUV whose driver clearly had no intention of obeying the rules. What started as a watchful eye in the mirror turned into the opening chapter of a pursuit that threatened every driver nearby. With adrenaline rising, the chase was on.
Traffic conditions. In the piece of bridge. Speed plan 6.
By the end of the ordeal, troopers had the female driver on the ground and in custody. Her list of charges read like a rap sheet straight out of a courtroom drama: multiple felonies for drugs and warrants, probation violations, reckless driving, and more. It was a reminder that no matter how daring the run, every road eventually leads to accountability. On October 16th, 2021, a routine day in Salt Lake City turned into something far darker. Emergency dispatchers had just sent out a call about a reckless driver, a pickup truck carving through interstate traffic like it owned the road. Speeds pushed beyond 100 miles per hour, and every car in its path became collateral waiting to happen. Officers listening in knew this was not going to be a simple stop.
I copy. I'm trying to catch up to a customer late. Negative. I'm trying to get a plate so I can November 23rd, got into a head-on collision. We are at 1200 West and about Ore Drive. Send me medical and expedite Salt Lake.
When the dust settled, 33-year-old bakery owner Thai Huang Vu lost her life at the scene. Her passenger, along with both the driver and passenger of the fleeing pickup, were left injured, and even a dog believed to be in her car did not survive. Authorities never released details on formal charges, but it is easy to imagine what might have been considered vehicular homicide, reckless driving, fleeing from police, and endangering the public. One reckless decision turned into an irreversible tragedy, and one family's future was rewritten in an instant. On June 8, 2024, in Henry County, Georgia, officers were faced with a chase that no one could have predicted. A pest control truck stolen and barreling down local roads had turned into the center of attention for multiple agencies. Henry County Police called in reinforcements from the Clayton County Black Hawk Unit and the Georgia State Patrol. With every mile, the runaway truck transformed from an odd sight into a rolling danger that demanded immediate action.
All right, we got a pit, Jodico and Access Road. All right, he recovered. We're going eastbound Jodico, Patrick Henry, speeds 52, traffic's light, speeds 52, GSP having negative pit times 2. No, we're going northbound right now. Oh my God! Just ran the car off the road. Oh shit! Bad 50. Oh, stop. He crossing back over to the right side. We're crossing over Highway 42. Oh, making a left turn on the Highway 42. We're going off the road. Here we go. Hold on.
The driver was dragged from his ill-gotten ride and booked into custody with a mountain of charges from vehicle theft to reckless driving and felony fleeing. For a few fleeting minutes, he treated Georgia highways like his personal playground. But when the dust settled, the only thing he had left was a jail cell and a wrecked truck. On July 3, 2023, drivers on Interstate 95 near St. Augustine thought they were in for just another hot Florida afternoon. But for one driver, the interstate was about to become a stage for chaos. When troopers moved in, the decision was made run no matter the risk. What started as a simple stop spiraled into something much bigger. Troopers wasted no time closing the distance, and the suspect was quickly taken into custody. Charges were set to pile up fleeing and eluding reckless driving, leaving the scene of a crash, resisting arrest, and putting countless lives in danger. In the end, the interstate became the reminder running on foot doesn't outrun responsibility. November 9th, 2023 started out as another day of heavy traffic on Florida's Turnpike, but for officers in Miami-Dade County, this wasn't just another afternoon commute. A stolen U-Haul cargo van linked to multiple thefts and even an assault on an officer had just roared past patrol units at full speed. In the blink of an eye, an ordinary day became the backdrop for a high-stakes pursuit.
Class 106, still at 90, 83 miles per hour.
It all came crashing down soon after, and the suspects didn't walk away with any kind of victory. They were arrested and delivered into the custody of Homestead Police, facing a list of charges longer than the van itself. It was a bold run for freedom that only ended in handcuffs and a tow truck. On September 28, 2024, the man behind the wheel of a Dodge Ram made a choice that would change his night forever. He was clocked at more than 100 miles per hour weaving through traffic, as though the rules of the road didn't apply to him. For a brief moment, he sat at a red light as if he might come to his senses, but in an instant he slammed down the gas again, leaving the light and common sense behind.
1037.
10-4.
The Arkansas 028, Union King 0, Big Ray Dodge Ram.
10-4, ground close, station 63, stay slow.
TVI. Roll over.
What followed was chaos, smoke power lines, and a suspect who refused to cooperate even after being saved from his own wreck. A bottle of whiskey in the cab told the story the driver wouldn't. Facing charges from reckless driving to first-degree criminal mischief, he learned that outrunning responsibility is one race you never win. Some people just cannot resist pressing their luck. On July 16, 2024, James Lee Mason did exactly that in a beat-up Chevrolet Impala, making erratic lane changes like the rules of the road didn't apply to him. A deputy moved in for a simple stop, but Mason had other plans. Instead of easing off the gas, he buried his foot into it, trading common sense for chaos.
65.
Hey, watch out. Let me get him again. Watch out.
Storage. Don't go home.
Mason was arrested on the spot, charged with everything from reckless driving to fleeing and eluding. His passenger walked free, but the wrecked car was hauled away as a reminder of how quickly things spiral out of control. For Mason, the shortcut he thought would buy him freedom only guaranteed his trip to jail. February 27, 2023, in Polk County, Florida, a stolen vehicle ripped through the lanes with zero regard for safety weaving, like the highway belonged to him. Troopers from the Florida Highway Patrol locked in, knowing they weren't just looking at a traffic violation, they were staring at a rolling powder keg. For the driver behind the wheel, the next few miles would become the worst gamble of his life. Once the dust settled, the suspect was dragged out and arrested, his joyride officially over. Along with reckless driving, he now faced charges for fleeing police, resisting without violence, and possessing stolen property. For all the chaos he caused, it ended like it always does, with troopers standing tall and one more reckless driver out of luck. At about 2 p.m. on June 29th, 2023, deputies in Charles County, Maryland were dispatched to Acton Lane in Waldorf. A woman was under attack in a parking lot, the incident appearing to be a carjacking in progress. What began as a sudden burst of violence in a quiet corner quickly escalated, spilling onto city streets and forcing deputies into a pursuit they knew could turn deadly.
almost went head on with me. I got out behind him. Center Carolina behind us, southbound 205. Southbound 205, number 1 lane, speeds of 75. No traffic. 759, number 1 lane, he's 1050, 1050, 1050, 1050. Accident, 1050.
The escape ended in disaster when the suspect veered into oncoming traffic and slammed into a trailer truck. The impact was fatal, reducing his desperate attempt to a wreck of twisted metal and smoke. For law enforcement, it was a stark reminder that the fallout of crime doesn't stay contained. It can travel with the fleeing suspect and leave devastation across an entire highway. On July 9th, 2023, the sun was beginning to dip over Polk County, Florida, when Trooper Alfred Williams noticed something suspicious on University Boulevard. A white BMW and a blue Dodge Charger weren't just cruising, they were practically baiting each other. First crawling, then surging forward, their engines told a story that every trooper knows too well. Two drivers gambling with speed and common sense. With one flick of the switch, Trooper Williams lit up his patrol car to bring it all to a halt, but that's when the real trouble started.
Got a visual.
Right home.
Still taking off on me. He's gone out, he was in the grass. Next one hit his bag number. The blue Dodge Charger. Almost signal forward. He's signal forward. Signal forward. We're in the ditch. He's in the pond. Start 1071.
When the chase ended, the driver wasn't celebrating victory, he was in handcuffs. Troopers found his car destroyed, his excuses thin, and his charges stacking high, reckless driving, drag racing, and obstruction. It was a night that showed how one impulsive decision can wreck not just a car, but a future. On September 14, 2022, in Chatham County, Georgia, a state trooper spotted a white Ford Taurus, its driver holding a cell phone to his face while barreling down Veterans Parkway. What should have been nothing more than a citation quickly became something far more dangerous. The driver, later identified as 24-year-old Javon Raheem Richards, had no plans of pulling over. By the time help arrived, Richards was motionless, his life slipping away before he could even be removed from the car. The investigation revealed a loaded Glock, marijuana pills, and cash inside the Taurus. Signs that running was never about a simple traffic violation. What began with a phone in hand ended with a family notified at the hospital, proof that fleeing police doesn't just risk arrest, it risks everything. Late on the night of April 29, 2025, Corporal Dustin Arnold lit up his patrol car on Interstate 30. The target was nothing extraordinary, just a black SUV with paper tags out of place. But the driver behind the wheel wasn't interested in stopping. With one bad decision, he hit the gas and turned a minor violation into a full-scale pursuit.
Crashed into 33, roll over 1016, 1016. You skip forward.
Black male on foot, east into the wood line.
After the dust settled, the man behind the wheel was identified as Milton Ellis Jr. He resisted capture, but troopers pushed through and brought him down. Inside his SUV was a stolen .38 caliber revolver proof. This was never just about paper tags. He now faces a stack of felony charges that could follow him for years. All it took was one refusal to stop, and his night spiraled into a story he will not soon forget. It was February 5th, 2023, when Milwaukee officers zeroed in on a pair of men in a white Kia Sportage. The SUV was more than just another car weaving through traffic. It was wanted in connection with a serious abduction call. For those two inside, the thought of blue lights in the mirror must have set hearts racing, because what came next was anything but calm.
South on 4-5, south on 4-5 from Hampton. In pursuit of that Kia Sportage, Lincoln William Boy, 169, Iowa to Congress.
Yeah, they go east or west.
Coming up to Congress here. He's losing control. Creek, bail, bail, bail!
Okay, stop.
Officers wasted no time surrounding the scene, pulling both men out and ending the chaos before anyone else got hurt. They were booked into custody while the Kia sat half submerged, a frozen reminder that flight is a losing strategy. A snowy chase through Milwaukee might look dramatic on video, but for the suspects, it ended with nothing but cold cuffs and colder water. On June 20th, 2023, a calm morning drive through Otero County, Colorado turned into something no one expected. Troopers were called to Highway 50 for a driver who had already been linked to a shots-fired call and had reportedly caused chaos on the road. By the time law enforcement closed in, they had no idea just how much worse things were about to get. What began as a dangerous stop quickly spiraled into a nightmare scenario.
Oh, fuck. Copy 1123. Where's it at?
Oh, well, try to attachment to G14 call, please.
Okay. Switch, Candy. I don't have vehicles. Where's the keys? You got the keys in it? Good, Sticks. We got up to
The driver was later identified as 32-year-old Anthony Alfonso Sanchez III. Pulled from the burning wreck and rushed to the hospital, he would not survive his injuries. The truck driver walked away unharmed, but the entire event became a chilling reminder of how fast a bad choice can snowball into tragedy. Sometimes the most dangerous weapon on the road is desperation itself. In the early hours of April 8, 2025, the quiet streets of Riverdale, Georgia were anything but calm. At 1:58 in the morning, headlights should have cut through the darkness, but this car crept forward with none. Riverdale police noticed the stolen ride slipping down Roberts Drive like a shadow that didn't want to be seen. That decision sparked a chase that was destined to leave more than skid marks behind.
All Roundtree Road.
Investigators confirmed the vehicle had been swiped earlier that same night, its ignition punched. The suspect, who stayed behind 20-year-old Morak Grimes, now faces charges after his short-lived run ended in the county jail. It is yet another reminder that the thrill of the getaway almost always ends the same way, with flashing lights, busted property, and a record that follows you home. For most people, turning 61 means slowing down. But on November 27, 2023, in Clayton County, Georgia, one man did the exact opposite. Deputies spotted Rohan Daly driving with an expired tag, and instead of pulling over, he stomped the gas and left common sense in the rearview mirror. What started as a routine stop became his personal race against the inevitable.
Clear. Passing a point, birdie lake. Speeds are 106, no traffic. right, vehicle 41 right here. 41.
Deputies quickly closed in and discovered Daly had been driving on a suspended license with tires so worn they were accidents waiting to happen. He was booked into the Clayton County Detention Center and his car was hauled away. At 61, Daly proved that bad decisions don't have an age limit, and sometimes the road itself delivers the final judgment. The sun was still high on July 30th, 2025, when traffic moved steadily along JFK Boulevard. Among the flow of cars, one stood out, a white Ford F-250, swerving across the center line as if the rules of the road no longer mattered. Trooper Tyler Riles spotted at lights and siren at the ready with backup close behind. What should have been a routine stop was about to ignite into something no one on that highway would forget.
Still north of 107, still at 38 drive, speed 95. Breakdown, Air Force Station 107, Air Force Station 107.
Air Force Station 107 right now.
The suspect was identified as Zachary Brinson, and after the dust settled, he was captured and hit with a long list of charges including felony fleeing criminal mischief and reckless driving. He later told officers his back hurt from the crash, but pain or not, it was nothing compared to the trouble he'd brought on himself. When drivers treat the road like a game, they never realize just how quickly the final score catches up to them. On September 11th, 2025, the morning rush on Interstate 40 was already in full swing when a call went out that would change the tone of the day. Officers in Oklahoma had been chasing down a Jeep Wrangler tied to a counterfeit money case, and the chase was now spilling across the Arkansas line. For troopers waiting ahead, there was no mistaking the sound of sirens cutting through the morning air.
1444 Square, just 5, let them know that he's swerving in and out, trying to stop the TBI. Motor check. Simple. Go ahead for TBI. TBI! 1416, roll over. 10-4, TBI, roll over.
The driver was identified as Maurice A. Gonzalez from Georgia. He was pulled from the wreck with only minor injuries but carried far bigger problems: meth, marijuana, drug paraphernalia, and a laundry list of charges that would follow him straight to jail. In the end, running from the law did not just wreck a Jeep, it wrecked his freedom too. Sunday evening, April 23, 2023, found a blue Honda Accord pulled to the shoulder on U.S. Highway 82. Inside sat Preston Hilliard, a man with a history that stretched from California to Texas, heavy with drug and firearm charges. He was jittery, heart-pounding, unable to mask the weight of his past. The trooper standing outside his window had no idea that within seconds the quiet roadside stop would erupt into chaos.
Right. And 1016 straight out here at Murphy.
Thank you.
Who's running? Hope I'll be out at this address here. I'll get the numerics for you.
That inevitable end came with a crash so severe it left cars and property destroyed and a man sprinting on foot for freedom. Deputies and local officers tracked Hilliard down inside a residence where apologies replaced bravado. He left in the back of a patrol car charged with everything from reckless driving to fleeing firearm possession, criminal mischief, and more. What began as nerves and a pounding heartbeat ended as a long list of felonies and a night he will never outrun. On March 14, 2023, Arkansas State Police received an alert from license plate readers about a stolen vehicle. Troopers quickly located the car as it cut through traffic near Rockwood. What should have been a straightforward stop immediately turned into a high-stakes pursuit. The driver made it clear with one move he was not about to surrender quietly.
Low speed, 95, no trip.
Hey, troopers said try to put out spikes, just FYI.
Yeah, we're almost done. We're southbound at the 16. Wreck out the 16. Start coaching. Roll over.
10-4.
The suspect was pulled from the wreck, battered and complaining of injuries. He admitted to running because of multiple outstanding warrants, and those bad decisions stacked new charges onto an already long list. In the end, the chase proved what so many others have before it. The moment you run, you've already lost. On August 7, 2021 in Tallahassee, Florida, deputies had already been on alert when a call came in about a white Toyota Corolla. The car wasn't just speeding away from trouble, it was tied to a reported armed robbery earlier in the day. When state troopers heard the radio traffic, they knew this wasn't just a reckless driver on the road. It was a ticking clock, and the chase was about to begin. The juvenile was caught and taken into custody facing charges for vehicle theft, fleeing law enforcement, and armed robbery. It's the kind of story that shows how fast a joyride can spiral into a criminal record and how a few reckless choices can set the tone for the rest of your life. On August 29, 2023, the morning commute near Lenoke, Arkansas was shattered by a flood of frantic 911 calls. Drivers on Interstate 40 were reporting something unthinkable: a silver car speeding the wrong way down the highway. By the time troopers were dispatched, the older motorist behind the wheel had already struck several objects, leaving chaos in his wake. The situation was escalating by the second, and all eyes turned to Arkansas State Police Trooper Anna Escamilla as she moved in to respond.
I got that vehicle stopped.
The impact crushed the cab and claimed the life of the log truck's driver, 63-year-old Thomas Arthur Job of Malvern. For a man who had hauled freight for much of his life, this final run was tragically cut short. It is proof that one wrong-way decision doesn't just threaten the driver making it, it can ripple outward and cost an innocent life. On April 22, 2025, deputies in Clayton County, Georgia were put on alert after a silver Jeep Cherokee was reported stolen. Behind the wheel was a teenager who already knew his way around trouble. 17-year-old Tyler Simpson wasn't just taking his parents' car for a joyride, he was setting the stage for yet another run-in with the law.
Good spikes, good spikes, good spikes.
138. He's gonna be going through the gas station, 138 and Kendrick.
In the end, the push only carried him into a courtroom's shadow. Tyler Simpson faces charges ranging from vehicle theft to fleeing law enforcement, all while still on probation for another stolen ride. For a teen who thought he could outrun the blue lights, the only thing he managed to catch was another stretch behind locked doors. On September 14, 2023, Trooper Dawson was cruising along Interstate 75 when a silver Ford Focus caught his eye. The car darted between lanes without a signal, clung too close to bumpers, and flew nearly 90 miles an hour in a zone posted at 55. To make matters worse, the license plate was shielded by a tinted cover, almost as if the driver wanted to stay invisible. What looked like routine traffic violations was about to spiral into something far more dangerous.
10-4 is coming. He probably going to take Cleveland Avenue. He's coming in hot enough for big help. Nope, he's coming up on overturn, start EMS, 1050 overturn, EMS please.
Clear 1050.
75 northbound, ramp to 166. Ramp to 166, I'm gonna shut it down.
By the time backup units reached the scene, there was nothing left to save. The driver had lost his life instantly, his flight ending in the worst possible way. It was yet another reminder that one split-second decision to run can erase every other choice that came before. Most nights on Interstate 85 are quiet, filled with the steady hum of engines heading south. But in the early hours of July 10, 2021, that calm was shattered by one driver who thought darkness and speed could keep him hidden. With headlights off and the needle climbing past 140 miles per hour, the gamble was clear outrun the Georgia State Patrol or crash trying.
Clear on 1050, rear end still on the side.
Alright. I just touched him again. Alright, he's still in it.
Well, take time.
When it was all said and done, officers discovered more than just a reckless driver. They found a wanted passenger, a terrified child, and a man who admitted to smoking and drinking while behind the wheel. His excuse? That he just did not want to go back to jail. His confession leaves one lingering thought: some lessons are never learned until the cost is far too high. December 17, 2023 was the night Jalen Camarena Davis decided to put his Dodge Charger to the test. At a racetrack in Riviera Beach, a Florida Highway Patrol trooper caught the sound of his loud exhaust cutting across the boulevard. Seconds later, Davis slammed the accelerator, roaring past traffic like he owned the road. What he did not know was that every choice from that moment forward was writing a chapter he would not be proud to sign his name to. Davis wasn't finished making bad decisions. He ran on foot, trampling fences and hiding in a stranger's backyard. Palm Beach Gardens police made sure it didn't last long. Cuffed and booked on burglary, hit and run, reckless driving, and fleeing charges, Davis turned a night of bravado into a future of courtroom dates. Some drivers chase adrenaline, but Davis learned the hard way that Florida troopers always chase harder. In the thick of Miami-Dade and Broward County traffic, most drivers had no idea the black Mercedes SUV beside them was carrying far more than groceries. On January 13, 2025, that vehicle carried a wanted felon, multiple felony warrants, and a decision that would put countless lives in danger. When Florida Highway Patrol troopers moved in, the driver showed his answer he wasn't stopping for anyone.
Hey, I got to light it up, light it up, light it up. To the other side, to the other side, pin him to the other side. Be careful, hey, be careful.
Be careful. If there's any additional units in the area, by 95 and Sunrise can respond now.
The pursuit ended with 3 suspects in custody thanks to the teamwork of Florida Highway Patrol and the Broward Sheriff's Office. Inside their vehicle, investigators found 3 firearms tools of chaos that never made it to their intended purpose. After a hospital visit, the suspects were escorted to Broward County Jail, where felony charges awaited them. On a rainy afternoon, a stolen truck barreled down a slick Arkansas roadway rainwater, pooling across the lanes like hidden traps. North Little Rock police were locked in pursuit, watching every swerve and splash from behind. It was the kind of chase where one bad move could send everything spinning out of control. The driver had no idea the stormy road was about to become his biggest enemy. The crash exposed even more trouble. North Little Rock officers discovered a gun uncovered warrants and faced conflicting stories about who else might have been in the truck. A dog pulled from the wreck was thankfully unharmed. In the end, the suspects were hit with a mountain of charges including vehicle theft, fleeing reckless endangerment, firearm possession, and resisting arrest. A wet road turned their reckless run into a one-way ticket to jail. On May 10, 2024, a red Dodge Ram TRX rolled out of a Chevron in Atlanta, catching the eye of a Georgia State Patrol trooper. But the driver wasn't just sitting behind the wheel. He was live streaming, running his mouth about what he thought he could get away with. He claimed he could eat up the State Patrol, laughing as if he had it all figured out.
Something with these police, right? See, State Patrol, look, when State Patrol wants you, the difference between them and a regular county cop, APD, if they looking for you and they want to fuck with you, or they trying to, harass you, they'll go park in the corner somewhere. They go park somewhere and wait till you pull off. State Patrol, them niggas are going to ambush you immediately. Now, I ain't do shit, but just the sight of them niggas just give me chills. But see, from right here, I can eat their ass straight up. From right here, so many police ride by. But from right here, I can tell them, I'm going to tell you why, because they still got to come across that light. Once you got a good enough head start, you got to, and I'm all-wheel drive, you got to hit.
Stupid! Oh, 250, bad 250, land, bad 250. Go ahead and start a 252 immediately.
The driver was soon identified as 24-year-old Kaywan Tucker of Atlanta. He carried more than just an attitude. A warrant for shoplifting a backpack with a ghost gun and bags of suspected crack cocaine sealed his fate. It was a chase that ended not in escape, but in a grim reminder that bold talk and reckless choices often have the harshest endings. It was December 5th, 2024, when deputies first crossed paths with a Chevrolet Trax that wasn't where it belonged. Stolen just moments earlier, it was already carving up the lanes of State Highway 5. One deputy tried to bring the ride to a halt, but the driver slipped away. That narrow escape set the stage for a pursuit that was only getting started. The man behind the wheel was identified as Vincent Walrath, who officers suspected was driving under the influence. He was checked for injuries taken to Baxter Health and later provided a blood sample for testing. Another high-speed escape attempt was stopped cold, proving once again that running from the Arkansas State Police is a losing gamble. Sirens echoed through the trees on December 28, 2022, as an Acura from Texas barreled down the back roads of Arkansas. The driver wasn't interested in pulling over, and his foot stayed glued to the gas pedal. With Arkansas State Police Trooper Markeith Neal in pursuit, every curve of the road turned into a gamble. One bad move could bring everything crashing down.
He raked out.
The driver bolted on foot, but the forest didn't save him. Troopers arrested him shortly after, and he now faces charges of felony fleeing reckless driving, leaving the scene of an accident and resisting arrest. It was the kind of ending that shows once again running only digs the hole deeper. On July 31, 2025, one driver's secret was about to explode into the open. Behind the wheel of a Nissan 350Z, Kevin Colindres Castaneda had a problem bigger than his car payment. He didn't have a license. Instead of facing the music, he pressed down on the accelerator, betting everything on speed and shadows. That bad decision lit the fuse for a pursuit no one on the road that night will forget.
The vehicle is with eastbound on Huntsville, probably at over 100 miles an hour. What's your original PC?
Okay, he's crashed here at Thompson.
Copy, crashed out, Huntsville, Thompson.
Sent ambulance, females on the ground.
The driver, 20-something Kevin Colindres Castaneda, didn't deny it. He was the one at the wheel. Officers booked him on felony, fleeing 3 counts of battery and reckless driving, all because he feared being caught without a license. A piece of plastic he never earned turned into a wreck that people will not soon forget. On July 28, 2023, the thick summer air in Arkansas hung heavy over Interstate 40 as a simple traffic stop spiraled out of control. The driver, identified as 32-year-old DeMarcus Clark of West Memphis, quickly showed he had no intention of cooperating after officers noticed problems with his vehicle and the distinct odor of marijuana. Rather than face the situation, Clark made a rash decision, one that set off a dangerous pursuit down the interstate and drew in multiple law enforcement agencies.
I just about wrecked out. I TBI'd.
When it was over, Clark's attempt to flee had cost him everything. Pushing speeds past 120 miles per hour turned the busy highway into a battlefield. Though Sergeant Roberts was shaken from the impact, he managed to walk away from the crash. The chase stands as a grim reminder that once desperation takes control, the finish line rarely offers survival. It was just after 8 p.m. on March 3, 2022, when a silver Porsche Cayman streaked down Interstate 85, catching the attention of Trooper First Class D. Thomas. The car darted from lane to lane, a streak of recklessness on a Sunday night highway. The lights and sirens flipped on, but instead of slowing down, the driver made a choice that sealed his fate. From that second on, every mile carried the weight of risk.
Towards exit 99. Yeah, he's probably taking this exit. Stand by. Looks like a 1050, real bad 1050. 1050. Go ahead and start at 52 to 51 as well. They're going to be right portion of the car.
The driver, later identified as Victor Allen Smith, was taken into custody after showing clear signs of impairment. He refused a blood test and was found carrying more than $3,000 in cash. After medical clearance, he was booked into Gwinnett County Jail. Yet no booking photo or report can capture the full cost of the life of Hugo Martinez, an innocent bystander who never made it home that night. One reckless decision behind the wheel left a scar on everyone involved. They say small mistakes lead to big consequences, and on April 12, 2024, that couldn't have been truer. A deputy from the Cobra unit noticed something off a car gliding through Riverdale, with a test drive tag clear as day. It was the kind of thing that screams, "Pull me over." But instead of pulling over, the driver chose a different path, and that choice lit the fuse on a chase that would spiral out of control.
Back up to Warren Forest Parkway, eastbound, towards 85. Okay, Forest Parkway, eastbound, 85. Cut up on Southwest Parkway. Okay, Southwest Parkway. He's going to the left on, we're right on South Bridge. Speed 30 miles per hour.
Both suspects were taken into custody, shaken but unhurt, and deputies added a possession charge to the long list of problems waiting for them. But beyond the handcuffs and the paperwork, one remark stood out. The driver admitted his girlfriend would be furious when she learned her new car had been wrecked in a high-speed stunt. Sometimes the worst punishment doesn't come from the law, it comes from the people you let down. On May 18, 2022, what began as an ordinary Wednesday morning drive through Little Rock took an unexpected turn. Arkansas State Police Trooper Walker spotted a silver Toyota Camry merging onto the highway. The driver, later identified as Marcus Scott, had already made one choice that drew attention: he was not wearing a seatbelt. What Trooper Walker could not know was just how far Scott was willing to push things before the day was done.
Just wrecked out. Start at 1016.
10-4, north interchange?
Yeah, 10-4. It's a rollover.
By the time the dust cleared, Marcus Scott's gamble had cost him his life. His passenger, Dior Cox, was pulled from the wreck with injuries and soon faced charges tied to drugs and firearms found scattered around the scene. In the end, what began with something as small as a missing seatbelt spiraled into a fatal pursuit that left one man dead and another staring down the justice system. On November 8, 2024, just after 10:40 at night, A quiet stretch of Interstate 630 suddenly became the stage for reckless choices. Trooper Trace Smith spotted a gray Toyota Camry barreling down the rain-soaked highway well above the posted limit. The driver did what many think will buy them a few extra minutes of freedom. He pulled over briefly, then bolted. That single decision set off a chase that would spiral far beyond a simple traffic stop. That driver, 33-year-old Dominic Williams, tried to escape on foot, but learned the hard way that running in the rain doesn't outrun accountability. Once cleared at the hospital, he was hauled off to jail with charges ranging from felony fleeing to criminal mischief. It is another reminder bad weather and bad choices rarely mix well. On June 11, 2025, Trooper First Class Tyler Nelson spotted a black Chevrolet Trax rolling down Midland Boulevard in Fort Smith, Arkansas. At first glance, it was just another car on a late summer night, but something didn't add up. A quick check revealed suspended registration and questionable insurance, not exactly a good look for the driver behind the wheel. What began as a routine stop was about to unravel into something far more dangerous.
Still blacked out. Coming up to Johnson. Clear left to right. He wrecked out Kelly and 50th.
When the chase finally ended, officers found more than just a reckless driver. Austin Osman was carrying 2 handguns, fentanyl pills, bundles of cash, and marijuana packed into baggies. His passenger was taken to the hospital while he was taken to jail with a list of felony charges that reads like a crash course in bad decisions. In the end, it proved once again that fleeing the police is the fastest way to lose everything. May 2nd, 2024 was shaping up to be just another night in Pinellas County, Florida. But for troopers with the Florida Highway Patrol, a simple traffic stop quickly spiraled into something much more chaotic. One driver made the split-second decision to run, and in that moment, he traded caution for recklessness. The flashing blue lights in his mirror marked the beginning of a chase that would test both nerves and asphalt. The suspect was quickly taken into custody, and troopers wasted no time stacking up the charges. Felony, fleeing, reckless driving, endangering lives, the list went on. He may have thought speed would save him, but all it did was buy him a faster trip to jail. January 12, 2023 began like any other night in North Little Rock, Arkansas. But the calm did not last long. Police radios suddenly lit up with word of a stolen Kia Sportage tearing through the city streets. When Arkansas State Police joined the pursuit, it was clear this driver had no intention of stopping peacefully.
Freedom traffic, 815, coming up on 142.
Coming up on 142.
Stay by.
Coming up on 142.
142, I missed them. Like you just crashed out, engine to go 40 west at 142.
By the time troopers reached the wreck, it was already too late. The driver never made it out of the burning Kia, his reckless gamble ending in the worst way possible. It is a tragic reminder that behind every high-speed joyride is a clock ticking down on borrowed time. Trooper Desmond Benton knew the night of April 1st, 2025 would not end quietly. Reports of a reckless driver spiraling through North Little Rock had already reached dispatch, and the chase was on. The suspect pushed harder, with each mile refusing to surrender. What followed was a ride straight into disaster.
Scratch the railroad track upside down. Right upside down. Cars on fire, cars on fire.
Somehow the driver survived and was dragged out alive before the blaze consumed the vehicle. But freedom was short-lived. He now faces charges of felony fleeing, reckless driving, criminal mischief, and resisting arrest. For him, the chase ended in fire and cuffs, proving once again that outrunning the law is nothing but a losing game. That wraps up this one, but the action never really stops. Go ahead and check out the next video to see what's waiting down the road. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more.